so that I can share it out with families that are unable to attend. It will be pretty much presented in the screen the way you see right now. I'm going to be sharing my screen with the slides. And once I do that, it will just have me up in the top corner. So you won't have to worry about your picture being shared. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. Excuse the costume today. Let me fix this. Okay. All right, so welcome to part 2 of our back to school night Zoom. Kind of the purpose and the intent for this second Zoom is to cover all of the things that we didn't have answers for when we did our first back to school night back in August. As information has kind of come along and the district has created their plan, I have a lot more specific information about what this will look like, as well as the guidance that we have from our district office and the health department. So some things that have not changed, regardless of COVID, regardless of all the crazy things in the world, our mission statement still stands strong and true in our class, that we will learn to be leaders, that we will embrace greatness that we see in ourselves and others, that we will achieve our goals, and that we will do the right thing. And that also includes, we have the same 4 big rocks. And who would have thought when we had kind of bought into this leader in me concept 7 years ago, and my very first group of kindergartners at PKB, we sat down together and we came up with what we thought were the 4 most important things to focus on in kindergarten in our classroom. Never would I have predicted that our 4th big rock was going to be so important. So our big rocks are still the same as they were 7 years ago. We can learn, we feel loved, we become leaders, and we are safe. And those are the 4 most important things in our classroom. We feel that there's little rocks that can kind of sidetrack us. And so we always go back to, is this a big rock? Do we need to stop our lesson to address one of our big rocks? And we do that frequently as needed. So today is kind of about discussing that 4th big rock, safety, and why that is so important as we're moving into this model of hybrid learning. If I go back to this right here, when you think about like our hierarchy of needs, safety is really foundational. It's really important. We really can't learn if we don't feel safe. We really can't become leaders and work on, kind of adapting and evolving as citizens if we don't feel safe where we're at. And so that's why we really need to make sure that foundational piece of safety is in place so that our students can learn, so that they can become leaders, so that they do feel loved and valued in our classroom. So here are some of the different ways, and I know there's a lot of text, but I want to make sure I'm very thorough and hopefully it can answer your questions this way. Here are some of the different ways that we're going to address that safety within the classroom. So, and I do have some pictures here of what our classroom looks like. So I'll kind of come back to this in a minute, but we have moved out our traditional kindergarten center time looking tables, and we've brought in individual desks. I did get a tape measure out and measure to make sure the desks were all 6 feet apart. And so the students will be assigned a desk, so they will not be mixing their seating. They have name tags on their desks for our Monday, Thursday kids and for our Tuesday, Friday kids. So whether you're on group A or group B, the desks will be fully cleaned and sanitized every day between. So if your child is at this desk on Monday and somebody else sits in it on Tuesday, it will be fully cleaned and sanitized between the desk and the chair. And then at our small group tables for guided reading, writing, strategy groups, things like that, where Miss Brittany and I will be pulling kids back because that's really a powerful piece in our classroom. We have plexiglass, and I do have photos of that as well, that help keep the students safely spaced apart from each other, as well as between the teacher and the student. And students will be doing workstations, but we won't be rotating around because of the amount of time it would take to be cleaning. So what'll happen is they'll be working at their tables. We will pull the student to work with us at our workstation. Then they will go back to their, sorry, I'm used to saying tables, back to their desk. And then everything at our station will be cleaned and wiped down in between. We do have the plexiglass. We will be cleaning the plexiglass and the chairs and the desks at our workstations in between each group of students. There's no more than 3 students coming either to my table or to Miss Brittany's at a time. That way we have them safely spaced apart. We will be cleaning them in between. Hand washing is going to be very often and common, and I kind of go into that later on when we look at our schedule, but we will be washing in, we will be washing out, we will be washing before recess, we will be washing after the restroom, we will be washing before eating, we will be washing after eating. So there will be a lot of hand washing. We will lean towards hand washing more so than using hand sanitizer, because I found, at least for myself over the last few months, that hand sanitizer over and over and over really dries out your skin. And if you have eczema or anything like that, it can irritate. So we will be, for the most part, using soap and water and taking kids to the restroom to wash there, but we will use hand sanitizer as necessary too. So masks for adults, all adults on campus are required to have a mask at all times. Even when we are using face shields, we still have to have a mask underneath. The only time a mask will ever come down, it will, in my classroom specifically, it will stay on our ears. I might need to slide it down and then maybe have a face shield so that they can see the shape of my mouth as I'm introducing, like the shape you need to make for a letter sound for speech or something like that. But otherwise the mask will be covering my face. So that's one kind of barrier that's going to protect between me and the students. Now we also are going to be having all staff completing a daily health certificate prior to coming to school. So every day we have to fill out a form, and we've been doing this for months since we started back to school in August. We have to go through and check, have we had a fever? Have we been around anybody with a fever? Have we been around anybody who was tested positive? Blah, 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 blah. So before ever coming to school, all staff members, teachers, custodians, librarians, everybody has to fill out this certification to make sure that we're safe to be on school so that we don't spread anything to our students. Now as far as the way Series has addressed the area of masks for students, is that it is required for 3rd grade and up. They must have masks. If they do not wear their mask, they will be sent home. For kindergarten, 1st and 2nd grade, masks are not mandatory or required. However, they are highly requested. So this is where I'm going to kind of separate for a moment as teacher. And this is kind of just my own personal, what we're going through in my own household. I have a child that is highly at risk for complications. So we have been we've had no choice but to be extremely careful and proactive in my household to make sure that my child is reduced her risk for getting COVID. It's extremely important to me as a mother. I'm 100% mom, but I'm also 100% teacher, and I really don't know how to do either one of them halfway. I'm all out in both areas. So it's really difficult for me as a mother to also sometimes balance what I know I need as a classroom teacher. So when I'm going back to putting my hat on as a teacher, what I want parents to understand is that when I'm requesting that students wear masks in the classroom, it's for one, to make sure that I'm keeping my daughter safe at home. And I have 5, but I have one that's high risk that we have to be extremely careful with. But it's also another barrier that's important to me as a teacher of your child. And here's why. If I have my mask on and a child in our classroom, falls and gets hurt or gets a scratch or whatever, I'm a nurturing person. I don't know how, as a teacher, to not close that gap and step within 6 feet to help that child. I'm going to do it. I need to know that if a child is hurt, they have somebody there that's going to nurture them, that's going to pick them up, that's going to help them, that's going to dry their tears, that's going to put a Band-Aid on, and not just say, sorry, I can't go within 6 feet. So if your child has a mask on and I have a mask on, not only am I safe, but your child is also safe. So I'm protecting your child is protecting me, and we're creating that nice win-win for each other. And that allows me to close that gap so that I can move closer than that 6 feet. Again, I don't know how I'm supposed to say 6 feet apart from kindergarten students because they're so loving and they're so affectionate, and that really matches with my style of teaching as well. But if we all have our mask on, then that allows me to safely move closer to that zone where I'm able to nurture them and support them with their needs. So it is highly requested, especially given my family circumstances. I would really appreciate if you're able to support that at home. The districts did buy clips. So they're little like lanyards that clip on so that when they go outside or when they need to take their mask off to either eat or use the restroom or whatnot, their mask can just clip on their lanyard so that they don't lose it, because we don't want kids dropping masks and then picking someone else's mask up, right? That would not be a good scenario. So the district is providing us with lanyards to make sure that there's never any mixing or touching of student masks or anything like that. So now to move on to some of the other safety areas. That was kind of my one big plea, is the masking's really important to me. So, and it's not about, anybody's rights. I understand some of the different feelings and opinions on the mask things. I get it. Trust me, I get it. It's just more of me being a person and a human being trying to protect my family, as well as being able to nurture and love your child the way I know they need it. Okay, so moving on. There's limited sharing of all classroom materials. We will be cleaning between use. What we did here, let me grab really quick. I'll just move this up and around. We have gone through, because play is important in kindergarten, extremely important. They learn when they're playing as much as they learn from sitting behind and doing journal work, right? So we have gone through and we have bagged up all kinds of different toys that normally would be collective or community type of building toys. And we put them in large jumbo bags. And what will happen is on Monday, your child will pick out from all of our big collection that we bundle together what toy they want to play with for the week. Now, remembering they're only in our classroom for 2 days. So I know that hopefully they won't get tired or bored of that toy, and they will only be pulling it out during like choice time type of activities. So the plan is they'll pick out which one they want to play with for that week. And we have train toys, Lincoln Logs, all kinds of things. They will get to keep that at their desk in their space. It will be labeled to them. No other child will be touching it. And then on Fridays, after everybody goes home, we will be sanitizing the toys, laying them out to dry, and then Monday they will be able to pick a new set. And I'm hoping that that will be a good system to allow them to still have that balance of play, but still keeping everything clean and sanitary, and balancing also the time to be able to clean everything. They will also have student cubbies. So we've rearranged our whole cubby system, and it's right here, so I'll show you while I'm here. But we've rearranged our entire cubby system. I have them switched between where it's every other. So a group A child is not next to another group A child. They're spaced apart. When we excuse students to their cubbies, we will only do a couple at a time so that we can make sure there's not kind of a rush or line at cubbies. And in their cubbies, everything is labeled. So if anything fell on the floor, we don't have another student picking it up. We won't be accidentally cross-mixing material. So whiteboards are labeled, crown tubs, we've made pencil boxes, we're getting magnetic whiteboards, all kinds of things in there will all be labeled. And then we have, let's see, there's also space in their cubby for them to have their lunch bag from home if they're a student that brings their own lunch, and water bottles. We'll talk about water bottles coming up, but every student will need a water bottle from home every day because the water fountains are not allowed to be used. In fact, they have them all kind of taped off. They will be able to refill their water bottles, but we're not having kids, that make sense, using their mouth to drink from a drinking fountain. The sinks do work, but not the drinking fountains. And then temperature checks. Oh, wait. Yes, so the choice time toys I went over. Okay, temperature checks. I will be doing a temperature check of every student before they ever walk into the classroom every morning. So we'll do a temperature check then. Just to make sure we don't have, because I know how my own kids are, sometimes they're fine in the morning and then after lunchtime they kind of crash. We will also be checking again after lunchtime. If we're seeing any symptoms of a student being lethargic or anything questionable, we may check temperatures more often than that, but it'll be at least 2 times a day. And then if a student has any types of symptoms, it's an automatic going home, and we'll go over that in a minute. They will also kind of be in a separate spot in the classroom or outside to make sure that we don't, if they are symptomatic, it doesn't have anything that spreads. I probably expect if your child is anything like one of my kiddos and has asthma or allergies, I would kind of have a plan B in place now. I'm trying to figure it out as well. I know how it is as a mom trying to go, oh my gosh, what am I going to do? But have a plan B of what's going to happen if my child's asthma flares up and they're coughing and they get sent home, because until we can rule out that it's COVID related, then that there will probably be more days that they'll be sent home this year than what we would normally have. And then the last thing down here are class sizes. They've shifted it around. It was 11 on one day and 13 on the other, but I'm an even balance now of 12 on group A and 12 on group B. So it's a really nice small class size, which really allows us to do a lot with our small group time and working with them on reading and writing. Okay, so here are kind of the pictures. I showed you the cubbies. Here's one of our workstations. It's a very tall, large plexiglass. I did move our flexible seating. I used to have flexible seating at every table, but I was able to put them up at our workstation so that at least they get kind of a mix of the types of chairs. The desks are all 6 feet apart through the classroom. And then I know 5-year-olds cannot sit in a chair all day long. I think that's just silly to be able to think that we're going to be able to get them to do that. So we did also order sit spots. These are little like Velcro type of circles that sit on the carpet, and they will have their own sight word. It will get moved around the classroom so that they're not always in the same spot. But these will be nice. Our classroom, thank goodness, is humongous. It's big and glorious. So we will be spreading the kids out far around the classroom so that they can kind of have that break time of not being able, when a kid is just done being in a chair and they need to be able to sit in a different way where they're comfortable. So we did get sit spots that should be here next week. Safety outside of the classroom. So for the most part, our recess is going to be just with our class. At lunchtime, our recess will be with the other kindergarten class, Miss Apodaca's class, but there will never be more than our 12 and her 12 or whatever out on the playground at once. There will be 2-yard duties. They have lots of different games where they're keeping them separated as much as possible outside. There's arrows all around the school campus, one-way arrows. So they have to walk on this way to come around this building, and they have to walk this way to come around the other building so that we're not ever face to face. And that's important because of, the coughing, the sneezing in kids, and not all of them are quite down yet with coughing in their elbow. One-way arrows on play structures. Play structures will be wiped down between classes. There's a seating chart in the cafeteria at lunch, so the kids are not going to be allowed to kind of intermix. They will have their own spot. They'll be kind of spaced apart. Kindergarteners are staying on our kindergarten playground for lunch. That's new this year. Normally the kinders would go out on the big playground, but they will be staying at our playground, which is great because it kind of helps keep them a little more contained. There are not any contact sports, but we are setting up lots of other types of games to so that they are still able to play and wiggle their bodies and have fun. We do have our kindergarten tricycles. We are going to allow them to ride the tricycles, but they will be wiped down between each student use. If you're not comfortable with your child riding the tricycle, just let me know or let your child know, and then we'll just make sure that they choose another option of something to play with, but they will be cleaned in between. The drinking fountains are all closed, so you do want to bring a water bottle and make sure that it is labeled. We will be able to keep them separated in the classroom in their cubbies, but if your child takes them out at recess time, you want to make sure if 2 little ones have 2 pink water bottles that look the same, that they're not mixed up and that they don't accidentally touch each other's. That's really important. Only 3 children are allowed to go down to the student restrooms at a time. So, and we will be using that before recess, before lunch, we'll be hand washing. We will only let 3 in because there's more than 3 sinks in there. We want to keep them spaced apart and then switch and then move the next 3 through. Students will line up and they will walk 6 feet apart. We have separate dismissal areas and dismissal times. So my class, if you're a previous parent, you know that we normally dismiss right out front by Mrs. Apodaca's room. Instead, to keep the classrooms as separate as possible, we are going to be dismissing out by the flagpole in that gate right by the office. So that's where we will dismiss, and I'll go over dismissals in a minute, but that's just another area where we're trying to keep everybody separated. We will be washing hands before and after recess, at the beginning and end of the school day, and more often as needed. wasn't able to run out and grab pictures today, but they are just of the arrows that they're setting up around campus. Okay, so this is important. This is kind of that, make sure you have a plan B. So any one of these symptoms, and this came right from the Ceres district website, any one of these symptoms is something that will have a student go home. It will be excused. So none of anything that has to do with illness or anything like that is an automatic excused absence. We are not concerned about a perfect attendance and all of that this year. That's normally a big rock for us at PKB, but given the nature of what's going on, making sure that we are keeping our students safe, our teachers safe, and their families at home safe, we're not taking any chances with symptoms. So if any one of these symptoms, if a student comes and says, oh, I threw up this morning and they came to school, they're automatically going to be sent back home. So you guys are strongly encouraged to monitor them before bringing them to school in the morning. In fact, there's a parent monitoring, I think, not a checklist, but yeah, like a checklist that you can use each day. You don't have to turn it in or fill it out or anything like that, but just kind of a quick checklist. Did they have this or this or this or this? If so, keep them home. And then if they develop a symptom during the day, the student will be sent home. And we will keep them away from other students just to be safe. Pick up and drop off for the first week is going to be different than the following weeks. So just for next week, pick up or drop off procedure is between 8:25 and 8:40. You're going to bring your kindergartner through the office. Parents, if you want, you can either just drop them off and have them walk to the classroom, which obviously that seems a little hard for kindergarten on the first day because they need to know how to get here. But you'll have to go through the office and they will be doing a temperature check because all adults are required to check temperature before being on campus. So you'll go through the office, just kindergarten parents. You're not allowed to have younger siblings or babies. So if you're like me and you have a little one at home and it's your kindergartner's first day, you've got 3 or 4 days to kind of figure out if somebody else can watch the baby or the toddler so that you can run and bring your kindergartner to school really quick because we're not allowed to have any other students or any other children on campus. And then once you go through the office, you'll walk them around and wait out here out front of our door, which is room 4. And you're going to want to keep the kind of family separated. We'll wait in a line. I'll have the kids come through one at a time. Do not let them go on the playground or anything like that. Parents are not allowed inside of the classroom. So right at the doorway, I will check your child's temperature. We'll bring them in. Miss Brittany will be inside. She's going to help them kind of put their backpacks away and find their space or their desk area. And then I'll go to the next child. So we'll just get everybody in that way. If you need it, if you wanted to take a picture outside of the door before we bring them in, we'll pause for pictures because I know that's an important milestone for kinder families too. And then the pickup will be at 2:45 at the gate by the flagpole and kind of in front of the office to the side. You will see us kind of come out and around. Your child's going to be excited to see you, but don't let them run up to you. I have to dismiss one at a time. That's kind of how we've always done it. And it's so that I know who the child went to when they went home, to make sure that everybody's going home to the right person. And then you'll need to you can't just park in the green area because you're not allowed to get out of your car. You have to actually park your car in the parking lot and walk up to the flagpole area and then walk them back to the car. I can't send kids in the parking lot by themselves to walk to your car, and you're not allowed to get out of your car in that loading zone. So you'll need to park, come get them, and then you can go back to your car. And then after school program, they come to our line to pick our kids going to the ACES or after school program. And they come, I put 2:46 because they are pretty much on time. So make sure that you're not late because at 2:50, if the family is not here, then they automatically go to the ACES. So if you don't want them in ACES, make sure you're here before then. If there's an issue, call the office and we can figure something out. After week 1, so starting the week of November 9th, I think it is, your child can get breakfast in the cafeteria. The cafeteria opens at 7:50. Now, in past years, it opened a lot earlier. We're not able to do that because of COVID-19. So it opens at 7:50. They really should only be going into the cafeteria if they're getting breakfast. If you bring your child to school at 8:30 or after 8:25, they're going to come directly around to our classroom, and I'm going to do our morning recess inside because I don't want them out on the playground in the morning. I'd rather just start our day off proactive and have them come in and have them play inside where I can kind of monitor and make sure everybody is safe. So we will be doing our morning recess indoors for now, just until things kind of improve in our county. Between 8:25 and 8:40, if you get to school, you're going to have them walk through the side gate will now be open, have them come around and come to our classroom. That would have given them 2 days to kind of figure out where they go. But there will also be adults all around campus. Mr. Macias will be out, Ms. Callahan, and we'll have all of our, lots of adults and teachers out kind of supervising, making sure the kindergartners are in fact making it around to our classroom. And then pickup procedure will be the same. So 2:45, if you're not here by 2:50, then they go to ACES and we will still dismiss over by the flagpole. So what do you need to bring each day? I try to keep it down to 3, but there's really 5 important things. So fully charged Chromebook. Make sure the Chromebook gets plugged in. You do not need to bring the charger to school. We want to try to not have extra things that we're touching and all of that, and plugging into walls and where do we put them and all of that. So it's too difficult to keep them separated. So if you can make sure they're charged at home, bring a fully charged Chromebook with their Clever badge in that little container. Don't bring the Chromebook without the bag because we need them not to get broken. A full-size backpack. So those little like mini backpacks will not work because they're not big enough for the actual size of the Chromebooks and all of the materials that they're going to need in their backpacks. They're going to need a water bottle that is labeled with their name on it. Again, just because if we have 2 kids with the same water bottle or it looks similar, you don't want someone else touching your child's water bottle and then spreading germs or anything like that. There will be an orange communication folder that is going to go home Monday or Tuesday, depending on whether your child is in Plan A or Plan B. And this needs to go home and come back to school every day that they're on campus. So back and forth every time. We'll be sending home letters and information and things like that in their orange folder. The orange folders will not, in the past, parents that are previous Barker Kinders, we had them put them in the tub. We're not doing that this year because we don't want, again, the touching. We've got to keep everything separated. So when they come in, they put their backpacks away, everything will go in their cubby and we will check cubbies for folders. And then the last thing is just the near and dear to my heart, the mask. Okay. Snack time is also going to look a little different because we are limiting how many kids are in the cafeteria at once. Our lunch times kind of got spread out, and poor kindergarten, we are on this really late lunch where we don't go until 12:30. So knowing how my 5-year-old is at home, who's always hungry and asking when it's snack time, we want to make sure that the kids get a healthy snack. So what we've done in the past is we just have a snack cabinet and parents donate snacks. And then when our cabinet gets kind of running low, then we'll send out another message on Parent Square and asking them to bring snacks in. Because we cannot be touching the food and the snacks, in the past we would pour things in little Dixie cups or, in their hands, and we're trying to not do all of the touching. What we're requesting this year is snacks, healthy snacks that are individually wrapped. So like Walmart grocery store, Costco has the bigger tubs of like fishy crackers or pretzels or popcorn, Cheez-Its, fruit snacks, granola bars, things like that. If you're not able to donate, don't worry about it. But what we do is we pass out the same snack to every child every day. So, on Mondays, we might decide they kind of go, oh, we want fishy crackers. So I pass it out. Okay, Thursday, we want granola bars. So everybody would get a granola bar. Unless your child has an allergy, let me know, but I didn't check. I don't remember seeing a food allergy, but let me know if there is one. We cannot pass out chips, no Takis, no candy, obviously. We save that for special things. But we will be doing a nice, generous snack in the morning, and we also doubled our recess time in the morning because I know they're going to need more time to play and wiggle before having that late lunch at 12:30. Okay, then you should have already gotten a message or figured out your schedule. I know we had quite a few little changes that happened today, so we've updated our list since this morning. If you are an A group, you come to school on Monday and Thursday. That means you're doing distant learning Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday. Wednesday is distant learning for all. If you're on B group, you are at school Tuesday and Friday, and you're distant learning on Monday, Wednesday for all, and Thursday. So here's how this is going to work. This is just kind of a sample of the lesson plan template that I started. So Monday, or Plan A kids are red, Plan B kids are kind of this pretty blue, and then everybody is distant learning. So Monday students will be getting the same lesson for reading, for writing, for math as Tuesday students. Thursday students will be getting the same lesson as Friday students. So I will be doing that lesson twice. Now, phonics is the only area where it's going to be different because phonics is a big rock. If we don't get that phonics instruction in kindergarten, which is so foundational and so important for reading and writing, we're going to be in trouble in first grade. So all students, whether you are at school or at home, or all students that are at home, have to Zoom on your at-home days. So it's not a day off of school. You're just doing school at home. So you will Zoom at 9 o'clock on your home days. Okay, so here's your sample home learning. Every student will Zoom at 9 o'clock. At the same time at 9 o'clock in the classroom, we're going to be doing our phonics. So basically what that's going to look like is I'm going to be teaching a phonics lesson in the classroom while Miss Brittany is holding up the Zoom, the camera for our Zoom, while they're watching and integrating and participating, interacting with that same phonics lesson. So they will see it live, okay? That way all students are getting the same phonics lesson, and I'm still able to move through 5 lessons in a week, which is really, really essential. All the other lessons will be done twice. So your school day for kindergarten at PKB is from 8:40 to 2:45. And your school day on your home learning is 9 to, it's more like 9 to 2:30, but 9 to 2-ish. 9 to 9:30 is kind of plug in my computer, get it turned on, look at my agenda, make sure I have things ready and open, make sure I've gone to the bathroom, that kind of thing. You're going to start your morning at 9 o'clock and you're going to watch and participate in our phonics Zoom, okay? Then you're going to go straight from phonics into Seesaw, and I will be sending out lessons that go along with the lessons that we're doing in class on the reading or the writing. You're going to have a break time. Then they're going to do this district program that they have adopted that I'm hearing really wonderful things about, called Pathblazers. I do not want kids on Chromebooks all day. That is a yucky feeling. It does not sit well in my stomach. So what I've tried to do is what's going to be in Seesaw are things that they would do in like a book format and that they take a picture of and put in Seesaw. Pathblazers will be a digital tool that they will use, but then you'll see they have independent work time. They're going to do their writing calendar or their writing journal that has a little calendar on it, and all of that will be sent home next week. So you don't have any materials yet for next week because you're going to be getting those. There's a lunch break, and then the afternoon story time and work time is kind of independent. It's based upon what their needs are. And then Wednesday schedule, the only thing that's different about Wednesday is the district is requiring all students, kindergarten and up, to have a Zoom from 8:30 to 10:30. Now, don't panic, because I panicked. I got that done for you, so don't worry. We will not be live watching our Zoom that whole time. We will open the Zoom up. We will do our lesson in Zoom. They will just leave the Zoom tab open on their computer, and then they will go do the other things, okay? So you can turn your camera off and then go into Seesaw and then take your recess and then come back and then go into your journals to do your journal writing. We're only going to be Zooming on that live Zoom time from 8:30 to 9 on Wednesdays. I wished it was the same, that 9 to 9:30 time, but there just wasn't a way to make it work where I knew everybody would be logged on for that 2 hours, because that is a district requirement. I'm not able to make changes to that requirement. So open your Zoom up on Wednesdays at 8:30. We will go right into our Zoom 8:30 to 9. And then you will leave the Zoom on. I will end the Zoom. So leave the Zoom on, just turn off your camera, make sure your microphone's on mute, and then go about doing the other work activities that you have. The slides will still be shared every day for those days that your child is not in school. So what you'll see, so that I'm not sending it out twice, is Monday, whether you are home on Mondays or home on Tuesdays, there will be a Monday, Tuesday agenda, because it's going to be the same whether you're on this day or this day. Then there will be a Wednesday agenda for everybody. And then there will be a Thursday, Friday agenda for everybody. So I'll be sending out 3 home learning agendas a week, plus then what you have in the classroom. Classroom rules and leadership traits. These are just different ways. It kind of touched on this a little bit when we had our first back to school night back in August, but I tried to be very nurturing, but also very clear on what the expectations are. We talk through things. We do have a rainbow wall behavior system. I'm going to just kind of see what the needs are of the students before I decide whether or not to use it. I try to do very intrinsic rewards, a lot of things that are based upon the 7 habits, and then whole class points. Kids love the whole class points where we get to earn things and they kind of decide what they want to earn. It's really important at PKB that we look for the silver linings and that we shift our mindset from this is a negative thing and how can we turn it into a positive. So instead of me saying, we cannot have parent volunteers this year, we're going to shift our mindset because we're trying to model that positive thinking for our students. Instead of classroom parent volunteers, you may be able to help by prepping materials at home and by helping your child with Seesaw and other learning opportunities. So we will not be having in-class volunteers. We're going to look for other ways if you're wanting to engage with our classroom. And we sure do appreciate having parent volunteers in any capacity, whatever that volunteer may look like. And then instead of in-person field trips, we get to have virtual field trips, and we will make these as fun, as engaging as possible for our students. Miss Brittany and I will dress up like scarecrows if we have to for learning about farms. Whatever it is, we will do our best to make it engaging and fun for kids so that they still get that full kindergarten experience. That's really important to me as well. Okay, so that is it. This again is just the supplies. You just need those 5 items. We do have a Barker teacher wish list on Amazon. Please do not feel obligated, but I have had parents ask, you know, what do you need? How can I help? So I do have a wish list on Amazon with everything with kind of switching over to hybrid learning and needing to separate materials. That means a lot of times we need more materials in order to have each kid have their own. So we do have some different things on there. We plan on doing a lot more crafts and arts this as well. So thank you all. I tried to keep that in 30 minutes, but it's just a lot of material and I like to talk. So it's kind of hard for me to do. If you still have questions or concerns, if there's more information that you would like, anything specific, please just message me on Parent Square and I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. And I look forward to seeing all of you on Monday, Tuesday. Wish us luck. It's going to be great. We will send, I'll be sending pictures to you so that you have pictures during the day. I will try to take maybe even a video of our students in the class for the Monday parents and the Tuesday parents, because I want you to be able to still see what our classroom looks like, see the smile on your child's face, and know that when they are here, they are valued and they are loved and they are appreciated. Okay, so thank you all for joining and see you Monday. Bye.